Dr. James Harrison walked through the shining corridors of the Galactic Medical Station, his boots making soft sounds on the crystal floor. The walls glowed with a soft blue light, and strange symbols moved across transparent screens. He had never seen anything so clean and perfect in his life. "This is our main medical wing," said Chief Healer Velthara, floating beside him. Her body looked like it was made of living glass, changing colors as she spoke. "We have saved every patient who has entered these halls for over 300 years. James nodded, trying not to stare at the alien doctor. 3 other humans walked with him, Dr. Emily Watson, Ambassador Robert Chen, and Security Chief Sarah Mills. They were the first humans ever invited to visit this medical station, and everyone was nervous about making a good impression. The hallway opened into a huge room filled with strange machines. Some looked like giant eggs made of metal, others had arms that moved like spiders. Lights blinked everywhere, and soft music played from hidden speakers. "These are our healing chambers," Velthara explained. "When a being is injured, we place them inside. The machines repair all damage at the cellular level." James leaned forward to get a better look at one of the machines. The technology was amazing, far beyond anything humans had developed. As he moved closer, his sleeve caught on a broken piece of crystal that stuck out from a display case. "Ah, damn," he said quietly as the sharp crystal cut through his uniform and into his arm. A red line appeared on his forearm, and blood started to drip onto the perfect white floor. Velthara's glass body suddenly turned bright red. She made a sound like breaking glass mixed with a scream. "Code Crimson. Code Crimson. Life fluid breach in Medical Bay 7. Alarms started ringing so loud that James had to cover his ears. Red lights flashed everywhere. Heavy metal doors slammed shut around them, trapping the humans inside the medical bay. The soft music stopped, replaced by urgent announcements in alien languages. "What's happening?" Emily shouted over the noise. Before anyone could answer, bright lights appeared in the room. Alien doctors materialized out of thin air. Some looked like giant insects, others were made of pure energy, and several were crystal beings like Velthara. They all moved toward James with panic in their movements. "Please remain calm, human James," Velthara said, her voice shaking with fear. "We will attempt to save your life, though I fear we may already be too late. The life fluid is escaping your body." James looked down at his arm. The cut was about 2 inches long and bleeding steadily, but it was nothing serious. He had gotten much worse injuries working in his garden back on Earth. "Too late for what?" "It's just a small cut. Do you have a bandage or something?" The alien doctors stared at him like he had grown a second head. Dr. HFY, who looked like a giant beetle with 6 arms, scanned James with a device that beeped frantically. "The readings show massive trauma." HFY clicked in panic. "The circulatory system has been breached. How is he still conscious?" "Because it's not that bad," James said, pressing his hand against the wound to slow the bleeding. "I've had paper cuts worse than this." More alien doctors arrived through the transport beams. They pushed huge machines toward James, things with tubes and wires and blinking screens. One machine was the size of a car and made sounds like a helicopter. "Prepare the emergency life support," ordered Dr. Zephyr, an energy being that looked like a ball of lightning. "Initialize the trauma protocols. Contact the resurrection specialists." "Resurrection specialists?" Sarah asked, her hand moving toward her weapon. "Are you planning to kill him?" "Kill him?" Velthara's form flickered with confusion. "We are trying to save him. Though with such massive life fluid loss, survival is unlikely." James looked around at the chaos he had accidentally caused. Dozens of alien doctors were preparing equipment that probably cost more than his house. All because of a little cut that would heal in a few days. "Look," he said, raising his voice to be heard over the alarms. "I appreciate the concern, but this really isn't serious. On Earth, kids get injuries like this all the time. It'll stop bleeding soon, and then it'll heal." The alien doctors stopped what they were doing and stared at him. The silence was so complete that James could hear his own heartbeat. Children survive such trauma regularly. Dr. Nolla, a young crystal being, whispered in amazement. "Well, yeah," James said. "I mean, everyone gets cuts and scrapes. It's just part of growing up." "Impossible," breathed HFY. "In all known species, any breach of the circulatory system results in death within hours. The life fluid cannot be restored once it begins to leak." James held up his arm. The bleeding had already started to slow down as his blood began to clot naturally. "See? It's already getting better. My body knows how to fix itself." The alien doctors looked at each other with expressions of shock and disbelief. Chief Healer Velthara's crystal body flickered through colors James had never seen before. "This changes everything we thought we knew about biology," she said softly. "If what you say is true, then humans possess healing abilities that seem miraculous to the rest of the galaxy." James shrugged. "We're just tough, I guess. Had to be, growing up on Earth." The alarms finally stopped ringing, but the red lights kept flashing. Every alien eye in the room was focused on the small cut on James's arm, a wound so minor he had almost forgotten about it, but which had just turned the galaxy's understanding of medicine upside down. Dr. Emily Watson finally convinced the alien guards to let her through the emergency doors. She found James sitting on a strange table that looked like it was made of liquid metal, while dozens of alien doctors moved around him with glowing devices. The room buzzed with activity as machines hummed and beeped. "James, what did you do?" Emily asked, looking at all the equipment surrounding her colleague. "Just cut my arm on some broken crystal," James replied, holding up his forearm. "Nothing serious, but they're treating me like I'm about to die." Emily looked at the cut. It was maybe 2 inches long and had almost stopped bleeding. She had seen much worse injuries in medical school. "That's it? That little scratch?" "The readings are impossible," chittered Dr. HFY, waving a scanner over James's wound. The device made angry beeping sounds. "The life fluid continues to escape, yet his body systems are becoming stronger, not weaker." Dr. Nolla, a young crystal doctor who glowed with soft pink light, leaned closer with her own scanner. Her 6 eyes went wide as she read the results. "Look at this. Microscopic warriors are moving toward the injury site. They're actually fighting the damage." "Those are white blood cells," James explained patiently. "They help fight infection and start the healing process. Every human has them." The alien doctors stopped what they were doing and stared at him. Chief Healer Velthara's crystal body flashed through several colors before settling on a deep purple that Emily guessed meant confusion. "You possess an army inside your body?" Velthara asked slowly. "Well, I wouldn't call it an army," James said. "It's just how our immune system works. When we get hurt, our body sends cells to fix the problem." Dr. Lumseth, who looked like a ball of green light with arms, flickered nervously. "In our species, injury means the life force begins to leak away until nothing remains. There is no fighting back, no repair. Only slow death." "That's terrible," Emily said. "How do you survive accidents?" "We don't," HFY clicked sadly. "Any breach of the skin or damage to internal systems is fatal. That is why we live in such protected environments." James looked around the spotless medical station with new understanding. Everything was smooth and soft, with no sharp edges anywhere. Even the alien doctors moved very carefully, as if they were afraid of bumping into something. "So when you get injured, that's it?" James asked. "No healing at all." "The concept of healing is unknown to us," Velthara admitted. "Once damaged, a being can only hope to survive long enough to reproduce before the inevitable end." Emily pulled out her medical scanner, a simple device compared to the alien technology around them. She ran it over James's cut and showed the results to Dr. Nolla. "See these readings? His body is already making new skin cells. In a few days, you won't even be able to tell he was injured." Dr. Nolla's crystal body brightened with excitement. "New cells? The body creates replacement parts for damaged areas." "Of course," James said. "How else would healing work? Our bodies are constantly making new cells to replace old ones. When we get injured, they just work faster in that spot." "This is beyond miraculous," whispered Dr. Zephyr, his energy form crackling with amazement. "You speak of regeneration as if it were normal." "Because it is normal," Emily laughed. "James, show them your hand." James held out his left hand, pointing to a thin white line across his palm. "Got this when I was 10 years old. Fell off my bike and cut my hand on a piece of glass. Bled like crazy, but it healed up fine." The alien doctors crowded closer to examine the scar. Their scanners beeped frantically as they detected the old injury site. "The tissue appears stronger than the surrounding area," Dr. Nolla reported in amazement. "The repair made him more durable, not weaker." "Yeah, scar tissue is usually tougher than regular skin," James said. "That's just how healing works." "Impossible," breathed HFY. "Injury makes you stronger?" "Sometimes," Emily said. "Broken bones heal back stronger too. Muscles grow when you tear them a little bit during exercise. It's called adaptation." The room fell silent except for the humming of machines. Every alien doctor was staring at the two humans like they were looking at magic. Dr. Velthara finally spoke, her voice full of wonder. Your species evolved to become stronger through damage. We had to, James said simply. Earth is a dangerous place. Predators, poisonous plants, extreme weather, diseases. If we couldn't heal from injuries, humans would have died out millions of years ago. Your world tried to kill you, so you became unkillable, Dr. Lumseth said slowly. We're not unkillable, Emily corrected. We just heal from small injuries. Big ones can still kill us. But what you call small injuries would kill any of us within hours, Dr. Nolla said, looking at James's cut with new respect. As they watched, the bleeding had completely stopped. A thin scab was already forming over the wound. James's body was healing itself right before their eyes, something the alien doctors had never seen in their entire lives. How long until it's completely healed? Dr. Velthara asked. James looked at his arm. Maybe a week for the scab to fall off. 2 weeks at most. Then it'll just be a small scar that'll fade over time. The alien doctors looked at each other in amazement. In their world, James would have been dead within the hour. But his body was not just surviving the injury, it was actively fixing itself, becoming whole again. For the first time in galactic history, they were witnessing something they had thought was impossible, true healing. The next morning, James woke up to find his arm had healed even more overnight. The scab was firm and dry, and the swelling had gone down completely. He barely felt any pain when he moved his arm. To him, this was perfectly normal. To the alien doctors who had been monitoring him all night, it was like watching a miracle happen in slow motion. Dr. Nolla was waiting for him in the medical bay with a dozen other alien doctors from across the galaxy. Word had spread quickly about the impossible healing human, and scientists had traveled from distant star systems to see him. Human James, Dr. Nolla said, her crystal body glowing with excitement. Would you be willing to tell us more about how your species deals with injury? James sat down on the examination table and rolled up his sleeves. Sure. What do you want to know? You mentioned yesterday that all humans experience such injuries, asked Dr. Zephyr, his energy form flickering with curiosity. Of course, James replied. He pointed to a small white mark on his elbow. This one's from when I fell off my bike when I was 8 years old. Scraped my elbow on the concrete pretty badly. The alien doctors gasped collectively. Dr. HFY's antennae twitched with horror. You were injured as a child and survived. Well, yeah. Kids get hurt all the time. It's how they learn to be careful. James showed them another scar on his knuckle. This one's from when I was learning to cook. I was cutting vegetables and the knife slipped. You deliberately used a sharp blade near your flesh. Chief Healer Velthara's voice reached such a high frequency that the translation devices struggled to keep up. James laughed. How else would you cut food? Everyone uses knives in the kitchen. You just have to be careful not to cut yourself. Though it happens sometimes. Dr. Emily Watson joined the group, carrying her medical bag. Should I tell them about contact sports? She asked with a grin. Contact sports? Dr. Nolla asked nervously. Games where people deliberately run into each other, Emily explained. Like football or rugby. Players get bruises, cuts, and sometimes broken bones. Then they heal up and play again. The silence in the room was so complete that James could hear the air circulation system humming in the walls. Every alien face stared at the humans with expressions of pure shock. You engage in activities designed to cause injury, for entertainment. Dr. Lumsether's green light flickered weakly. It's not designed to cause injury, James said. That's just a side effect. The point is to have fun and compete with each other. But surely your young ones are protected from such dangers, asked Dr. Zephyr hopefully. Emily shook her head. Kids play even rougher games than adults sometimes. They climb trees, ride bicycles, play on playgrounds. They fall down and scrape their knees constantly. And they survive this, whispered Dr. HFY. They don't just survive, James said. They get tougher. Kids who play outside a lot rarely get seriously hurt because they learn how to fall safely and avoid real danger. Dr. Nolla was taking notes frantically on a crystal tablet. Tell us about your world. What environmental factors created such remarkable healing abilities? James thought for a moment. Well, predators for one thing. Big cats, bears, wolves. If our ancestors couldn't heal from claw marks and bites, they wouldn't have lived long enough to have children. Your planet has creatures that hunt other creatures. Dr. Velthara's form went completely transparent with shock. Lots of them, Emily said. Sharks in the oceans, snakes and spiders that are poisonous, insects that bite and sting. Even some plants are dangerous to touch. The plants attack you? Dr. Lumsetha's light dimmed to almost nothing. Not exactly attack, James explained. But some have thorns or poisonous sap. You learn to be careful around them, but sometimes you still get scratched or stung. What about weather? Dr. Nolla asked, still taking notes. Extreme heat, freezing cold, storms that can knock down trees, James listed. Floods, earthquakes, lightning strikes. Earth has a lot of natural disasters. The alien doctors looked at each other with growing amazement and horror. Your world is actively trying to kill you, Dr. HFY observed. I guess you could say that, Emily agreed. But that's what made us tough. Species that can't adapt to danger don't survive. So humans are essentially biological fortresses, Dr. Velthara said slowly. You evolved armor made of healing flesh. We never thought of it that way, James said. We just thought we were normal. Dr. Nolla looked up from her notes. What other species call normal on your world? Well, there are lizards that can grow back their tails if they lose them, James said. Some starfish can regrow entire arms. Certain types of worms can be cut in half and both pieces will grow into complete worms. Other creatures on your planet also possess regeneration abilities. Dr. Zephyr's form brightened with excitement. Sure. Lots of them heal even better than we do, Emily said. We're actually pretty average for Earth life. The room fell into stunned silence again. The alien doctors were trying to process the idea that humans weren't even the best healers on their own planet. No wonder you seem so casual about injury, Dr. Velthara finally said. On a world where healing is common, minor damage becomes meaningless. Exactly, James said, looking at his scab. This will be completely gone in a few days. Why would I worry about it? The alien doctors stared at him with new understanding. They were looking at a being from a world so harsh that miraculous healing had become routine, so dangerous that what would kill them was barely worth noticing to a human. For the first time, they truly understood just how extraordinary humans were. 3 days after the accident, James rolled up his sleeve to show the alien doctors his arm. The scab had fallen off during his morning shower, leaving behind only a thin pink line that was already starting to fade. He flexed his arm normally, showing no signs of pain or weakness. The gathered alien medical experts stared in complete silence. Dr. Nolla's crystal body flickered through colors they had never seen before. Chief Healer Velthara's form went completely clear, which Emily had learned meant total shock. The injury site has vanished, Dr. HFY whispered, running his scanner over James's arm. There is barely any trace that damage ever occurred. Give it another week and you won't see anything at all, James said casually. That's just how cuts heal. Dr. Zephyr, who had traveled from the outer rim of the galaxy specifically to study human healing, floated closer. Show us this surgery that Dr. Watson mentioned yesterday. Emily activated the holographic display system and pulled up a video from her medical files. This is a routine appendectomy. We remove a small organ called the appendix when it becomes infected and dangerous. The projection showed a human patient lying on an operating table. The surgeon made a small cut in the patient's abdomen, reached inside, and carefully removed the inflamed appendix before closing the incision with stitches. The reaction from the alien doctors was immediate and extreme. Dr. Lumsetha's energy form flickered wildly before almost disappearing entirely. Dr. HFY made a sound like breaking glass. Several of the crystal beings turned colors that their translators couldn't even name. You deliberately cut open a living being? Dr. Velthara's voice was barely audible. To save their life, Emily explained. If we didn't remove the infected appendix, it would have killed them. But the massive life fluid breach. Dr. Nolla stammered. We're very careful to minimize bleeding during surgery, Emily said. And the patient's body heals the incision afterward. This patient survived having their body opened? Asked Dr. Zephyr, his form still trembling with shock. Not only survived, but went home the next day, James added. Probably back to work within a week. The room erupted in chaos as the alien doctors began talking all at once in their various languages. The translation devices overloaded trying to keep up with the flood of panicked questions and exclamations of disbelief. Emily waited for the noise to die down before continuing. We perform millions of these procedures every year. Surgery is one of our most common medical treatments. Millions? Dr. HFY's voice cracked. Heart surgery, brain surgery, bone repair, organ transplants, James listed. My neighbor back on Earth had his knee replaced with a metal joint. Works better than his original knee now. You replace body parts with artificial components? Dr. Nolla asked, her crystal form brightening with scientific curiosity despite her fear. When the original parts wear out or get damaged beyond repair, yes, Emily confirmed. Hip replacements, knee replacements, heart valves. Some people even get new hearts from donors. Donors? Dr. Velthara asked weakly. When someone dies, they can give their healthy organs to people who need them, James explained. One person can save several lives that way. The alien doctors stared at him like he had just described magic. You take organs from the dead and put them in the living. Dr. Lumseth whispered. And the living body accepts these foreign parts. Dr. Zephyr added. Usually, yes. Sometimes we need to give medicine to help the body accept the new organ, but it works most of the time, Emily said. Dr. Nolla was frantically taking notes on her crystal tablet. What about structural damage? Broken bones? Oh, that's easy, James said. He pulled up his shirt to show a small scar on his side. Broke 3 ribs in a climbing accident 5 years ago. They healed up stronger than before. Structural damage makes you more durable. Dr. Hexairay's antennae twitched with amazement. Bones heal by building extra calcium around the break, Emily explained. The repaired area becomes thicker and stronger than the original bone. This violates every law of biology we know, Dr. Velthara said, her form cycling through confused color patterns. Damage should weaken structures, not strengthen them. Not on Earth, James said. That's how we adapt. Muscles work the same way. When you exercise and create tiny tears in the muscle fibers, they heal back bigger and stronger. You deliberately damage your muscles for improvement. Dr. Zephyr asked. It's called working out, James replied. Everyone does it to stay healthy and strong. The alien doctors looked at each other with expressions of growing awe and terror. Your people are living weapons, Dr. Hexairay observed quietly. We're not weapons, Emily protested. We're just survivors. Earth made us tough because the weak ones didn't live long enough to have children. But the implications for galactic medicine. Dr. Nolla began excitedly. Are revolutionary, Dr. Velthara finished. If even a fraction of these techniques could be adapted for other species, we could save billions of lives, Dr. Zephyr whispered. James looked around at the amazed faces surrounding him. You really want to learn human medicine? Desperately, Dr. Nolla said immediately. Could you teach us these healing techniques? I'm not a surgeon, James said. But Emily here is one of Earth's best doctors. Emily smiled at the eager alien faces. I'd be happy to start a medical exchange program. Though you might want to prepare yourselves, human medicine can be pretty shocking to species that don't heal naturally. We're prepared for anything, Dr. Velthara declared. James grinned, remembering his own first day in medical school. These alien doctors had no idea what they were getting themselves into. 6 months later, the Galactic Medical Station looked completely different. A new wing had been built specifically for human-style medical training, with rooms designed to handle the shocking reality of deliberate cutting and controlled bleeding. The pristine white walls now had red emergency lights that didn't mean death was coming, but rather that healing was about to begin. Dr. Nolla stood at the front of a classroom filled with alien medical students from dozens of different species. Her crystal body glowed with confidence as she held up a curved needle and thread. The students watched with mixtures of fascination and barely controlled terror. Today we will learn the human technique called suturing, Nolla announced. This involves deliberately piercing tissue to close wounds and promote healing. A young insectoid student named Crix raised one of his 6 arms. Dr. Nolla, are you certain this procedure doesn't cause death? I have performed over 200 sutures in the past 4 months, Nolla replied calmly. Every patient has not only survived, but healed completely. The human methods work. She picked up a piece of synthetic skin that had been specially created for practice. With steady movements, she pushed the needle through one edge of a simulated cut, then through the other edge, pulling the thread tight to bring the edges together. The key is precision, she explained. Small, even stitches that hold the tissue together while the body's natural healing processes take over. James sat in the back of the classroom, unconsciously rubbing his forearm where the original cut had been. There wasn't even a faint line anymore, his skin was completely smooth and unmarked. It still amazed the alien doctors that such complete healing was possible. Chief Healer Velthara glided into the room, her crystal form shimmering with excitement. Students, I have wonderful news. The Galactic Medical Council has just approved funding for 15 more human medical training centers across the galaxy. The classroom erupted in excited chatter as students from different worlds discussed the implications in their various languages. The translation devices worked overtime to keep up with the flood of scientific enthusiasm. Dr. Velthara called out an energy-based student whose form flickered like blue lightning, "Is it true that humans can survive having entire organs removed?" "Not only survive, but return to full activity," Velthara confirmed. Dr. Watson recently demonstrated a gallbladder removal. The patient was discharged the same day and returned to work within a week. James smiled, remembering how the alien surgical team had fainted when Emily made the first incision. Now they were performing similar procedures themselves, though they still needed heavy sedation to calm their nerves before each operation. Dr. Emily Watson entered the classroom carrying a bag of medical supplies. She had become something of a celebrity in the galactic medical community, known as the human who cuts to heal. Medical journals across 17 star systems had published her papers on human surgical techniques. "How are our students progressing, Dr. Nolla?" Emily asked. "Remarkably well," Nolla replied with pride. Crick successfully sutured his first practice wound yesterday without fainting. The young insectoid student's antennae drooped with embarrassment, but Emily patted his shoulder encouragingly. "Don't worry about it. Human medical students faint all the time during their first surgeries. It's perfectly normal." "Really?" Crix asked hopefully. "Absolutely. I threw up during my first appendectomy," Emily admitted. "The attending surgeon said if I could handle that, I could handle anything." A crystalline student near the front raised her arm. "Dr. Watson, could you show us the bone setting technique again? Our homework assignment is to practice on the synthetic skeletons." Emily nodded and activated the holographic display. A three-dimensional image of a broken arm bone appeared in the air above the students. "Remember, broken bones want to heal. We just need to align them properly and keep them still while the body does its work." She manipulated the hologram to show how the two pieces of bone should fit together. The body will grow new bone tissue across the break, eventually making it stronger than it was originally. "Still seems like magic to us," admitted Dr. Zephyr, who had become the station's first alien specialist in human trauma medicine. "Technology that's advanced enough looks like magic," James quoted. "But this isn't technology, it's just biology. Your species can learn it too, with practice." Dr. Velthara floated over to James with a data tablet displaying colorful charts and graphs. "The results have been extraordinary. Our patient survival rate has increased by over 300% since implementing human medical techniques." James studied the charts with interest. "That's amazing. How many alien lives have been saved?" "Over 50,000 in the past 6 months alone," Velthara replied. "Injuries that would have meant certain death are now treatable. Minor cuts that once required life support systems can now be handled with simple bandages." Through the classroom windows, James could see construction crews working on 3 more medical facilities. Ships from across the galaxy arrived daily, bringing alien medical students eager to learn the impossible human arts of healing. "You know what's funny?" James said to Emily as they watched Dr. Nolla demonstrate proper suturing technique to her fascinated students. "What's that?" "All of this started because I accidentally cut myself on a piece of broken glass. Just a normal, everyday accident that happens to humans all the time." Emily laughed. "And now it's revolutionizing medicine across the entire galaxy. Who would have thought that being clumsy could change the course of galactic history?" "I prefer to think of it as being pioneering," James grinned. In the classroom, Dr. Nolla was helping a nervous energy being practice making sutures. The student's first few stitches were shaky and uneven, but gradually improved with encouragement and practice. "Remember," Nolla said gently, "healing is not about perfection. It's about giving the body the best chance to repair itself. That's the most important lesson the humans have taught us." As James watched the alien doctors learning to heal instead of simply preventing death, he reflected on how much had changed. His small cut had opened up an entirely new universe of medical possibilities, proving that sometimes the most important discoveries come from the most ordinary accidents. The revolution in galactic medicine had begun with a simple human truth that the rest of the galaxy was finally learning. Sometimes you have to get hurt to get better.